The grim discovery. On April 9th, 2021, 45-year-old Daniel Halseth's body was discovered in the worst way possible in his Las Vegas home. His mutilated remains were found inside a sleeping bag in his garage. A grisly scene unfolded as his body was severely burnt after someone attempted to light the house on fire, trying to burn the evidence along with it. The autopsy report made public by the Clark County coroner gave a detailed account of Daniel's death. He had been brutally stabbed 70 times, with 42 of those wounds concentrated in his back. One of these stabs even cut a major artery in his neck, and both his lungs had been punctured. He also suffered wounds to his shoulders, hands, wrists, and fingers, with at least one wound seemingly inflicted by a saw. When detectives arrived on the scene, they noted a strong odor of lighter fluid. Inside the house, they uncovered an array of tools, including a chainsaw, circular saw, numerous gallon-sized bottles of lighter fluid, and a handsaw. It was clear that the attackers had intended to dismember the body. Evidence collected from the home included receipts from Winco Supermarket and Home Depot for items like bleach, a circular saw with extra blades, lighter fluid, gloves, and cloth packaging. Surveillance footage from both stores allegedly captured his daughter, 16-year-old Sierra Halseth, and her boyfriend, 18-year-old Aaron Guerrero, purchasing materials connected to the crime. After Daniel was already dead, his body was further mutilated before being placed into a sleeping bag, which was then set on fire, causing burns to cover 40% of his body. But the most shocking part of this case is the person behind this brutal attack. Daniel met his end at the hands of his daughter and her boyfriend. Prosecutors believe that Sierra and Aaron orchestrated this gruesome murder because Daniel forbade them from seeing each other, especially after looking at the disturbing evidence that emerged after Daniel's body was found. How it all began. Daniel Wendell Halseth was born on January 28, 1976, in Estacada, Clackamas County, Oregon. His parents were Wendell Allen Halseth and Christine Halseth. He completed his high school education at Hood River Valley and earned a bachelor's degree in music from Western Oregon State University. His friends and family admired his musical talents, especially when he played the piano or drums. They affectionately called him Drummer Dan. He also achieved an MBA from Corban University. Christine shared how her son had a deep love for the outdoors. He enjoyed taking long walks and capturing the beauty of nature, with a fondness for photographing flowers. Christine constantly encouraged him to go after his passions. She also generously devoted her time to assisting returning service members. Daniel was a man who cherished fitness, motivational sayings, and making a positive impact in his community. He had a passion for exploring the United States, capturing the beauty of landscapes in photos that he eagerly shared on social media. Among his frequent posts, he often featured his beloved cat Orange. His expertise in IT made him a highly qualified advisor and facilitator for various projects nationwide. It was during his time at Western Oregon State University that he crossed paths with Elizabeth, who was a senior at Oregon High School. Their journey together led to their marriage on July 2, 2001 in Salem, Oregon. Daniel and Elizabeth welcomed 3 children into their lives during their 11-year marriage: Dana, Jordan, and Sierra Halseth, who was the youngest of the 3. Daniel was known as a beloved family man, always maintaining regular contact with his mother, Christine. He cherished his kids and had dreamt of being a dad for as long as he could remember. In 2006, a promising IT job opportunity came knocking for Daniel in Las Vegas, bringing excitement to their lives. Not only were they building careers, but they were also active in the local political scene. Fast forward to 2010, Elizabeth successfully ran for a Senate position in Nevada, which meant frequent travels for her. Unfortunately, this physical distance started to create emotional gaps in their marriage. Daniel was committed to making it work, so they explored counseling, though regrettably, it did not bridge the divide. Ultimately, Daniel made the tough decision to file for divorce. A successful parent. Sierra's mother, Elizabeth, had quite a political career. She was just 27 years old when she became the youngest person ever elected to the Nevada Senate. Reports suggest that the 11-year marriage of Daniel and Elizabeth was marred by domestic violence charges. This turmoil led to their eventual contested divorce, with Daniel pleading guilty to 2 counts of compulsion and abuse. The court decided to grant Elizabeth primary custody of their 3 children. The divorce hit Daniel and Elizabeth's youngest daughter, Sierra, especially hard. She had always been somewhat distant and was often seen as self-centered. But there was a special connection between Daniel and Sierra. They bonded over music and dancing, creating a close father-daughter relationship. In 2012, Elizabeth relocated to Alaska with the children, leaving Daniel devastated. To cope, he threw himself into his work. By 2013, Daniel had secured a new job that took him to Texas. Then, in 2020, there was a significant change. Elizabeth had remarried and returned to Las Vegas with the kids. In March of that year, Daniel had business in Las Vegas and stayed with his friend Peggy Newman. Unexpectedly, the COVID-19 pandemic hit, prolonging his stay. The silver lining for Daniel was the chance to be closer to his beloved kids once more. Tensions flared, however, as Elizabeth and Daniel clashed over their parenting arrangements. The beginning of the end. Daniel shared with his friend Peggy that Sierra had sent him concerning messages, expressing feelings of fear and discomfort while she was with her mother. There was no concrete evidence suggesting mistreatment at her mother's residence. In June 2020, during a conversation with her grandmother and cousins, Sierra made unsettling remarks. When asked how she reacted when things did not go her way, Sierra, as recounted by her grandmother Christine, said that she would eliminate her parents. Sierra had firmly decided against returning to her mother's home. That's when Daniel started legal proceedings to gain full custody of Sierra. He rented a home from his friend Peggy and moved in with his daughter. During the custody hearing, the court instructed Daniel to return Sierra to her mother's house, but she ran away and returned to Daniel's home. She began sneaking out of the house, where she met an 18-year-old named Aaron Guerrero through online channels. Both Sierra and Aaron's families agreed that they should not be in contact. Nevertheless, Sierra continued to communicate with Aaron without her father's knowledge. Daniel's relationship with his 16-year-old daughter got significantly strained because of Aaron. According to reports, the teenage couple had been concocting a plan to take money from their parents and escape to Los Angeles since they began dating in July 2020. Their plan involved stealing over $1,300 from an account that Daniel shared with his ex-wife Elizabeth. With the stolen funds, they acquired disposable gloves and a washcloth as part of their scheme. Elizabeth became alarmed when she noticed unusual withdrawals from bank accounts shared with Daniel, and she could not get in touch with him for an explanation. Her concern triggered a search that led to a horrifying discovery and the eventual apprehension of Sierra and Aaron in Utah. Their capture happened because they were caught trying to evade paying for a light rail transit fare. Following their arrest, they were transported to Los Angeles. Before we continue, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. A concerned family. On April 7th, 2021, Daniel shared a snapshot of a billboard he encountered while returning home from a work trip in Boston. This marked the final contact with him. The next day, on April 8th, Christine attempted to reach him but encountered silence. She reached out to Sierra via text, expressing her inability to contact her father. But Sierra reassured her grandmother, claiming that he was fine and that his phone was having issues which would be resolved within a day. With these assurances, Christine briefly put her worries aside, conveying her love and gratitude for her granddaughter. But a nagging unease continued to linger as she grew more suspicious of the explanation Sierra was providing. Fearing something was amiss, Christine reached out to his friend and landlord Peggy, expressing her concerns about his well-being. Peggy lived in her Las Vegas home on Dunphy Court in the 8400 block, and she swiftly went to check on her property. Upon getting there, she was met with a strong and unsettling odor of smoke. Alarmed by this discovery, she began knocking urgently on the door, but there was no response. Worried about a potential fire, Peggy contacted the fire department for assistance. Firefighters swiftly arrived at the scene and managed to extinguish a minor fire that had broken out in the garage. This event marked the beginning of a tragic and horrifying series of events that would soon unravel. The door was left unlocked, and a thick haze of smoke filled the house. In the garage, a lifeless body was discovered. Peggy alerted the authorities, initially suspecting it was Sierra, not Daniel. After investigation, the body was positively identified as Daniel's. Tragically, Christine's gravest fears were confirmed. In a separate turn of events, Aaron's parents arrived at the crime scene a few hours into the investigation, apparently in search of their son, whom they believed had fled with Sierra. His mother informed the authorities that they had tried to keep the two young individuals apart upon learning of their intentions to run away together. The evidence. Detectives confirmed that Daniel was attacked while he rested on his living room couch. There was no signs of a break-in, and the key was left in the front door lock. Within the house, numerous mops and cleaning supplies were discovered, along with a table saw, chainsaw, and various blades. Further investigation unveiled a trail of receipts. One receipt from Bank of America showed Sierra driving Daniel's car and withdrawing approximately $600 on April 8th, with Aaron alongside her in the passenger seat. Additional receipts were tracked down to Home Depot and Winco Foods. Surveillance footage captured Aaron shopping at Home Depot, where he purchased the very saws and blades later found at the scene. Meanwhile, Sierra was recorded buying multiple bottles of bleach from Winco around 2:50 a.m. on April 8th. Court documents from the grand jury hearings in the case also unveiled crucial evidence that led to the arrest. A rug soaked in blood that was discovered in the trunk of the car that Sierra and Aaron were driving. The evidence also included text messages and phone calls from concerned family members trying to contact Daniel. It also featured cell phone records indicating conversations between the teenagers discussing the murder. Sierra's DNA was found on one of the knives used to murder Daniel, while Aaron's DNA was found on the other. Initially, they had only planned to dismember Daniel, but they had a change of plans when Sierra realized that her grandmother would be calling the police. That's when the two set the house on fire, leaving Daniel's dead body to burn. After the autopsy, it was confirmed that he had no soot in his lungs, confirming that he died due to the stab wounds long before his body was burned. The 911 calls. 911 calls that were involved in Daniel's murder case were later released as part of the evidence. These calls revealed the critical moments leading up to the discovery of the victim's body. The first call was from Daniel's worried mother, who reported her son missing for a couple of days. She said that this is not typical behavior for him and expressed concern about his debit card being used at multiple ATMs. The second call was from the homeowner, who had just stumbled upon the body inside the Dunphy court residence near Westcliff and Durango. Their shock was palpable as they relayed the grim discovery and told the dispatcher that there was a dead body. They were taken aback by the gruesome scene, and the call later explained that they found the body while investigating a fire, indicating that the fire had been burning for a couple of days. Both of these distressing calls were made on April 9th. A video disclosed. Just 3 days after the murder, the teenage couple made chilling remarks about the murder on camera while they were recording themselves. This footage emerged as part of the evidence presented in the case against Aaron and Sierra. It begins with Aaron talking to the camera, saying, "Welcome back to our YouTube channel, day 3 after murdering somebody." Sierra responds with a nervous giggle, cautioning him, "Don't put that on camera." Aaron taps her cheek and puts his hand around her throat, while carelessly saying that it was worth it. The two were seen inside a tent during the video in an unknown location. The couple lacked any remorse for their actions. According to reports, the teenage couple had been in a relationship for approximately 7 months, from June 2020 to December that year. But their plans to run away to Los Angeles were discovered by their parents, leading to a ban on their interaction. After the murder, they fled the state using Daniel's car, eventually purchasing a train ticket and subsequently being arrested by the Salt Lake City Transit Authority. The whole Seth family's statement. After the video came out, they released a statement emphasizing how Daniel was, above all, a loving father, a cherished brother, and a beloved son who held a special place in the hearts of the whole Seth family. They said that his loss is such a horrifying, brutal, and senseless act of violence that left them shattered, and their grief was immeasurable. The utter absence of remorse seen in the video is not only deplorable, but also unforgivable. While they deeply appreciated the efforts of the detective and the district attorney, they awaited justice with the highest level of accountability possible. They loved Daniel dearly, and in their words, his absence weighed on them every single day. This statement was their sole communication, and they requested privacy and understanding during this time. A therapist's perspective. A licensed family and marriage counselor from Los Angeles, Jason Wamala, shed light on the concerning behavior exhibited by a teenage couple. Not only were they seen in a video seemingly making light of a murder they committed, but they even had a lot of sex while evading the authorities. Wamala pointed out that the footage revealed certain dynamics within their relationship, hinting at elements of power. The video showed Aaron playfully slapping Sierra's face and putting his hands around her throat, causing her to choke and struggle for air. She suggested that this lack of awareness about the consequences of their actions could stem from them growing up in a tech-savvy and social media-driven environment, where boundaries may not be as well defined. In her view, individuals from this generation might act without considering the repercussions of their deeds. Wamala also highlighted the potential influence of external factors on the behavior of teens and young adults, emphasizing the importance of what they are exposed to and what they may not be learning from their surroundings. Traumatic experiences or significant changes in living situations could contribute to a perfect storm, leading to such actions. The therapist encouraged parents, families, and communities to engage in open conversations with young individuals to better understand their experiences and feelings. She believes that fostering such communication can help reduce high-risk behaviors or criminal activities. Aaron talks about his actions. Aaron, at the age of 20, shared the chilling details leading up to the murder of his girlfriend's father, Daniel. In a candid interview with 8 News Now investigator Vanessa Murphy, Aaron recounted the moments before the murder. He disclosed that Sierra was the first to get the weapon, while he always carried one himself. When asked about whose idea it was to commit the murder, Aaron confessed that it was both of their ideas because they did not know exactly what they were going to do. They only knew that they had to do something about it, and in his opinion, it turned out wrong. Attempting to cope with their actions, Aaron confessed to feeling guilt every day, though he could not speak for Sierra. In the interview, Aaron shared personal struggles, revealing that he had not been in significant trouble before and had grappled with mental health issues, often neglecting his medication. He mentioned his use of LSD, which he obtained from an unnamed website. Aaron acknowledged the detrimental impact of this substance, especially when coupled with mental illness. He later committed to taking the necessary medication, and if granted parole, he aspires to prove to the whole Seth family that he can become a better person. When questioned about how he plans to make amends, Aaron replied that he wanted to prove to them that he is not a monster, and that he still has the potential to be a functioning member of society. Sierra throwing allegations. During the sentencing hearing, Sierra made claims of sexual and physical abuse against her father. She also alleged that he pressured her into drinking alcohol. But it's important to highlight that the court could not fully verify all her statements due to the available evidence. While these allegations added complexity to the case, they did not absolve the defendants of their responsibility for the murder. The sentencing hearing witnessed a wide range of emotions from Daniel's family members. 3 of Daniel's siblings and his mother expressed anger and resentment towards Sierra. Christine vehemently dismissed Sierra's accusations against her late son as falsehoods. The family members shared their profound pain and grief, with some even advocating the death penalty. Ben Holseth, one of Daniel's brothers, displayed posters with images of his younger sibling, highlighting his role as a dedicated and loving father. Another brother, Tom Holseth, tearfully addressed the judge, conveying the irreparable harm caused by Sierra and Aaron's actions and expressing uncertainty about forgiveness. The sentencing. Sierra and Aaron were arrested in Utah just 4 days later, on April 13, 2021, and were in custody facing charges of murder, conspiracy, arson and robbery. This happened when the police stopped them in Salt Lake City and asked for proof of paid fare on a train. They recognized the couple from the footage of the two that was released as part of the evidence, and they were quickly arrested. Alongside the murder charges, the teen couple was slapped with additional allegations, including conspiracy, arson, robbery, and fraudulent use of a credit card. Chief Deputy District Attorney Christopher Hamner stated that his office was contemplating whether to pursue the death penalty for Aaron. At the same time, Sierra, due to her age, was exempt from this possibility. Due to state law, the 16-year-old girl could not receive capital punishment in Nevada. Aaron's attorney indicated that the case would undergo review by the district attorney's office, while Sierra's mother, a former GOP state senator, did not publicly comment on the allegations involving her daughter. In Las Vegas, when a teenager is 16 or older, they are treated as an adult under the penal code. As they awaited their trial scheduled for May 2022, both of them initially pleaded not guilty to all 9 charges. However, things took a turn in October 2022 when Sierra and Aaron changed their pleas to guilty. The court handed down a sentence of life in prison for each of them, with the possibility of parole after 22 years. Additionally, they were ordered to pay $5,000 in restitution. According to official records, 20-year-old Aaron is currently incarcerated at High Desert State Prison in Clark County, Nevada, while 18-year-old Sierra is held at the Florence McClure Correctional Center for Women in North Las Vegas. Neither of them will be eligible for release until before 2024. During the sentencing, Sierra offered no apology, but Aaron expressed remorse. He affirmed his intention to maintain no contact with her, and reflecting on his actions, he admitted that he acted more out of impulse than what you could call love. Do you think there was a way to prevent Sierra acting out the way she did? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Bad Badger.